Okay. Good morning. How are you? Good? Good. Okay. I am Dr. Kari Murphy. I am the Chief Technology Officer in Deer Park ISD. And if you are unfamiliar with Deer Park, well, that means you haven't been watching the news lately. But well, we've had a lot of things going on. We are along the Houston Ship Channel. We are sandwiched between Pasadena, LaPorte, Clear Creek, right along the corridor there. We have 12,000 students, a little over 12,000 as of Monday or Tuesday. We about 1/5 to 1/6 are open enrollment students. And that means that we borrow from Clear Creek, or not we borrow, we take. We take from Pasadena, we take from LaPorte, those different ones, and just offer because we are limited as far as our landlocked. We have 15 actually 16 campuses, and we have 2 communities. We're in Deer Park and Pasadena. We're 47.6% disadvantaged, and we have over 2,000 employees within that particular school district. Just a little background about me. I come from being a teacher. I was a middle school teacher in Dickinson, in Clear Creek, and then went into instructional technology. So I am very instructionally focused, even though at times I may talk about boxes and wires, but my heart is with children. And that's what I really want to focus on is we have been working to bring AI, artificial intelligence, to instruction that's going on. We are a technology rich school district in a lot of ways. All of our students have iPads. We chose this after much discussion, and it was based on instruction. We didn't even let technology people vote on this. We went with what was best for curriculum. And people are like, why did you go with iPads? And it has served us well. We do testing, we do all of it. So all the myths that you hear about Apple and iPads, I want you to put them to the side because it works very well. We have built a great ecosystem. Our teachers are expected to teach with technology. Our workers are expected to utilize technology to do whatever they need to do their job. We call those non-negotiables. And it is very much just woven into what we do and everything. So you'll see that we have iPads for all our kids. We also have, we call it 1-to-X because they might need another device for other classes. Our teachers teach with iPads, but they also have PCs on their desks. So we call ourselves, I like to call us that, we are multilingual in the world of technology. We are not exclusive. So when we began to look at artificial intelligence, if you remember when ChatGPT came out, it was in 22 and you were hearing rumors. It was in November about then, and we were experimenting. We looked at what our mission is, and our mission is preparing today's students for tomorrow's challenges. So how is artificial intelligence going to play into the role? And we had challenges to look at, like what policies do we need in place? How are we going to protect it? What's the environment? Do we have the infrastructure for this? Do we have the technology, our assets and such? And then what's the climate? And when I talk about climate, I mean, how are students and staff going to embrace this? And how are they going to utilize it well? So those are our challenges that we've had on there. Just to give you a little background, and this is a recent report, and yes, I know I'm going out. Sorry. So there is a report that came out in just this last month from the Gallup poll, and it's how Americans, Voices of Gen Z, how American youth view and use artificial intelligence. We're talking about people between the ages of 12 and 28. And if you'll look, that 40% of this generation, they utilize Gen AI right now on a weekly basis. Then 49% of the students say they don't believe their schools have a policy, and if they do, they're not aware of it. 36% of Gen Z adults say that The risk of AI in the workplace they outweigh the benefits of it. And you can see, according to those, and you'll get access to these slides here, just the use of it. And so we had, not only with adults, and this is better now than it was, but also with students, how do you get past those myths and thoughts that are going on about AI, artificial intelligence? And you know that. You hear about it in your own school district. Recently in an in-service, this is kind of ridiculous, but I heard from an employee that says, "Oh, we can't use artificial intelligence. It's really weird. There's a whole god out there on artificial intelligence." And I was like, "Okay, please." And this was like secondhand. I said, "Have them give me a call. I'll be happy to talk to that particular person." But there are myths, and they're getting lesser because over the last couple of years as we have introduced those to people. So these are challenges that we have with it. So when we began to look down the road at what we were going to do, we began with COSN has an AI maturity tool. If you are not familiar with COSN is called the Consortium of School Networking. It is an international organization, and they are one of the leaders. Several different groups aligned themselves with it, but they have a full document on how do you know if your school district is even ready. And there are, I think there's 7 components, and you can see from the slide. So is your leadership ready? Are they ready to step up and actually lead in this way? Are you operationally ready? And there's a checklist that you can go through and you can have access to it. Do you have the processes in place? Do you have the human resources for it? How about your data? Is your data secure for this? We happen to be what's called a trusted learning environment. We have received a seal through COSN that says that we're doing everything possible to keep our data safe and to keep our students and staff, all of their data safe. And there's certain components to go through it. Are you technically ready? Is your identity and access management? Are you monitoring systems and you have technical controls in place? Is your content, are you moderating it? And that's part of being the TETL. And you can see the different. How about security? Do you have comprehensive cybersecurity frameworks in place for it? Are you ready for the legal processes and the rest that happen? And then here's to me the biggest one. Is your academic literacy. This is where teachers and administrators are prepared to integrate those AI. To us, that was the biggest challenge. I could do all the other parts, and we have a team that could do that. But it takes a large team. It takes everyone to do this next part, having you academically ready for promoting and putting in AI tools and utilizing it in the right way that's going to positively affect your instruction. So if you're not familiar with this tool, I suggest you pull it out and look at it. So that's where we began. We began to look at, are we ready for this? This is our roadmap. And the very first thing that we did is we formed an AI committee. It is made up of teachers. It's part of our district educational improvement committee. They can choose to be on that particular one. Plus, we pulled in administrators. We pulled in some parents, different ones to kind of sit in and look at it. But the very beginning, we had to educate them. We had to educate on what is AI, what's generative AI, predictive AI. And I know many of you have probably been going to AI sessions for the last couple of years and you've had it up to here. But we still have people that don't understand what that was. So that was in the spring of 2023. And then in September, we began to talk about it, getting our leadership ready, I apologize. And then September of 2023, we formed our committee for it. And then we educated. And Kelly here is with me. She's our Director of Instructional Technology, and she has played a large part in this. In fact, part of COSIN's event, or an academy that she went through. She had to do a capstone, and this is part of her capstone in getting that ready. Then we spent from January to May of 2024 just writing our policy and developing the plan. These are the questions that our committees came up with. And these are things that you have to address, and challenges. Understanding what is AI. Is it generative? What is generative, predictive, reactive? Is the use of AI cheating? Boy, that was a huge discussion. And then we had to divide up and say, is that really what we needed to do as that AI committee? Or is that something that really we needed to leave with instruction and writing their plan for academic integrity? Which started a whole nother one. And that's the other one. So what are we going to do to protect PII, personable, identifiable information of our employees and students? What's the potential? What can it do for us? What advantage is it going to do? What are the dangers? Identifying those that could do it. Is Gen AI information accurate? Give me an answer. What do you think? No, not always. Not always. Yes, and that was a discussion. So we were having discourse about this, among us, and also then starting to ask students about it. Can we trust generative AI? No, and yes, sometimes, but I will tell you, not always. I wrote an article for the Texas Business Magazine, and I actually used ChatGPT to help me, or Copilot, one of them. And afterwards, I asked for references. Now, I knew the information, but I needed something to help me real quick. And I asked for references. 5 of the 6 references I had were wrong. And I had to go find those. So the information, some of it was right, a lot of it was, and I could edit it because I knew what it was, but my resources were not. Is generative AI biased? Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, very much. And is it really that smart? Not yet. Well, there are some results that talk about that they have used it to take ACT tests and SAT tests, some of those, and they've been actually scoring pretty high on it. So it's smart, but remember, who developed AI? Humans. Okay, so it's only as smart as we are in many of those ways. So those are questions that we had to answer as we were looking at addressing our policy and how we were going to develop this. But here are the advantages if you need to really pitch whatever. We knew that AI could bring in increased engagement, because this is going to get kids, they get excited about it. They like new tools. We also felt like it would enhance our instruction, because we could pull resources and bring those into and provide support. And we know in the future, and we've been watching companies as they're developing products to do this. And we kind of call it, we're watching as they're developing, and then we're seeing as they throw them against the wall to see what sticks, and what's sliding down and what's holding. AI can bring personalized learning. It also provides accessibility for those students that have disabilities or are English language learners, emerging bilingual. The 5th thing, and this is where we really captivated on, is it would streamline administration. What is the one thing you cannot give your employees? Time. And that's what it would do. I mean, we would like to say we can give them a raise, but we're all probably living in deficit budgets, and that's kind of hard right now. But if we could give them that time, help them in developing those lesson plans or those routine tasks that they have to turn in, and or the scheduling or any of the attendance tracking, those kind of things. So we knew those are the advantages. We identified those. Then we worked on our principles. And these are, what we found out is that we didn't need to write a whole separate policy. We just took our responsible use and we added a section on AI. Because if you think about technology and how it's evolved, did we need to write a whole separate policy every time we get a new technology? I mean, when we had to write one for the internet, we didn't write one for the calculator. Let's think about the trends that came. We didn't write one for the calculator. At least I don't remember having one for my calculators when I taught math. We didn't write. We did have to write one for the internet, but every time a new tool came out, whether it was a word processor or a new application, we might have tweaked it. So we just looked at our responsible use. And we said that it's a choice to use it right now. That was, if they choose to use it, it's a choice because that's where we are. And we need to know that they need to use it appropriately and to use it as a supplement. It's not a replacement for regular traditional and what's going on, but it's a supplement in what they're doing. And we want them to, our employees, to use it, review what they're doing, verifying the accuracy and the objectivity, because we talked about bias in there. And we want to them from refrain from putting any kind of employee and student PII. And we're really big on that. We're constantly talking that message, giving that out. We require all of our employees, we don't care if you're a bus driver or if you're a substitute, we require everybody to go through some kind of cybersecurity training and talking about data security, data privacy. And so that is our constant message, that you are the holder. It doesn't matter what piece of information you have, but you are the holder of it. And this is one more tool that can bring risk if you're not doing it. Very similar to our students also. And we do advise, right now we're not at that point of our students, well, they are using it, but we're not giving guided instruction through the use of it. That's further down our road path that we'll be using. But if they are using it, it's not to be used to complete assignments without the permission and guidance of their teacher. It has to be under their guidance, because we, and I'll explain where we're going as far as we want them to be able to use it right in that. We also, it's a supplement. It's not a replacement for anything that the traditional learning methods. It's very similar to what we did with employees. And we want them to produce original work. And if they use any AI generated content, they are to cite it, just like we do when we utilize the internet or some of the others. And also, again, refrain from putting any personal information in there. So we wrote this. We added into our handbooks. It was approved by the board, and we stand on that. And we did training. Every year at the beginning of the year, we have what's called a compliance day or half day, that we have technology in the morning and we do special ed in the afternoon. And in that training, they actually have to go through our cybersecurity, our data security component. And this is what we rolled out in fall of 2024. And that particular training about the AI on there. So here's the rest of our roadmap. And if I'm standing in your way, oh, I got to stay in this thing in here. So the committee met, and then we began AI literacy for our educators in the summer. And this is Kelly's; she's under her direction. She began with our initial. We have what are called teachers of innovation. So on every campus, we have a campus technology integration specialist, and they are a technology coach. But we also have what are called teachers of innovation. These are teachers that have risen to the top, and they come in and they get extra technologies. They get extra training. They learn how to do some coaching, and they work with our CTIS, and they do our in-service days. We have technology in-service days, instructional technology. So they began having their training. She worked with them further in October to develop the training that is going to be delivered that was delivered in January. Every January, we have a technology in-service day, and it's district-wide. And the whole theme of it was called AI prompt engineering, because that's what we want to develop. We want to develop prompt engineers. Just like, remember a long time ago when we taught programming, we'd say garbage in, garbage out? Well, so with just like AI tools, if you don't put the right thing in, you're not going to get the right thing out. And if we don't educate our educators first on how to do it, then they're going to get frustrated and not utilize those, and there's misuse there. So where we are today, we're on step 3 right now. We provided some approved AI tools that we encourage our teachers to use, only our teachers, at this time. When I say they're approved, there's a process we go through. They've been vetted. They also have all signed the DPA agreement, a data privacy agreement. Every tool that we use in our district, the vendor has to sign a DPA. There are some that will not sign it. On Goblin tools, you notice it says staff only. They will not sign it for a DPA. Therefore, we are not going to ever use it with kids because we want to make sure that's protected. We are Microsoft District, so we do Copilot. One of the pilots is going on right now in Copilot. We have some of our English teachers that are actually using Copilot. Now, we can't get it part of our educational agreement yet, but I love these English teachers. You know, the English STAR test, the ELA writing test is graded by machine language. And we haven't identified which one it is. And we're finding that, and if you've been following the whole grading of those STAR tests, there are districts challenging because we've been training our teachers of how they're to be graded, and because by the requirements of STAR. But now they're using, they won't say it's AI, they call it machines to grade them, and they're varied in it. So our English teachers are taking the practice tests they're doing and they're dumping into Copilot and seeing if it's grading like they would grade. Because we need to find a tool that will, as we practice for that test, and we've been practicing before with them writing and the teacher had to grade, now that TEA is utilizing a tool, we need to do something similar because they're not providing it for us at this point. But it's been quite interesting. The others, Canva AI, Diffit, Kamingo, and we are doing the free version of Magic School, testing that out. So that's been kind of fun watching what teachers are doing and how they're turning out and how they're trying to learn to save time generated. So what we have planned in the fall is then we start the AI literacy for students. We've trained our teachers, and in that training that we did for our educators, we really have been pushing it. Well, actually, I skipped a step. So step 4, we are looking to purchase a tool. We're still in debate on that particular one, and then we'll begin training that. And we want it to learn how we do our grading, how we do our policy. We'll be feeding into it and adding our data into it. We'll be putting our documents in. With any AI tool, you really have to train it for what you want, and over time it will grow. And then we will, in the fall, we'll begin with our high schools, educating them on AI literacy, how to utilize those responsibly and ethically, and also addressing, is the use of AI cheating? I'll give you an example of Kelly's son. Can I use Jack? Is that okay? I didn't ask her ahead of time. So he's been doing a lot of college scholarships right now. And, you know, for every scholarship, you have to write an essay for it. And so she keeps telling him, just put it in ChatGPT or Copilot. And he goes, no, I'm not going to do it. And she's like, yes, put it in there. And he's so afraid that he's cheating on it. And if he's to write his essay. So she's convinced him at least, okay, write it, then dump it in, let's put it in there, and then it will look at where you can better improve it. And then he's kind of like, okay. But he's still very hesitant because it is ingrained. Of course, he's what number is he? 7 in his class. So, you know, they are very much bad. On the flip side, my granddaughter just did a application for her National Junior Honor Society, and on the instructions, the thing said, "Do not use AI for writing your essay." But so it's still that. And then we hope in spring of 2026 we'll begin educating our junior high. So we'll be moving it down through that as we continue to educate our our teachers and as they come in. And we have a thing that when you come into Deer Park, it's called a instructional technology. Oh, sorry, instructional technology academy. And if you are a new teacher, that's our non-negotiable. That's the first year you come in. It's a 24-hour kind of a hybrid class, and they're expected to use our tools and how we do things as far as implementing technology into instruction in that way. So that's kind of our roadmap and where we're going and where we hope to go. So what I'd like to do, I mean, we only have a couple of minutes as we wrap up. I hope that you have seen some things. And just on a piece of paper, hopefully you have right there, I should have provided stickies. I want you to write down maybe your challenge. What is the challenge you're having trying to implement AI into your district?
Form and then we'll put it back to her.
Okay.
Somewhere scribbled in there.
Yeah. If you could put that on there, what is your challenge that you're having as you're in your district? It could be your leadership. They're not ready for it. Or it could be the teachers or your instructional people that are still used to the traditional ways.
And then Dr. Murphy, while they're doing that, are you familiar with LearnEdic yet out of Europe?
No.
It takes a scanned picture and you tell it what grade and what subject and it builds. It scans the picture, knows what it is, and then builds a lesson for you.
Oh, wow. That's a cool tool. Yeah. And spell it again, say it.
LearnEdic.
LearnEdic. Okay.
I'll show it to you.
Okay.
They just introduced it to me like 3 days ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a new one.
Yeah. So there's a lot of new.
Yeah, there are new things coming around constantly. And that's part of our job is the vetting of it. And that's a real challenge of, vetting which one.
Never-ending job.
Never-ending job.
The never-ending gobstopper.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So hopefully if you've identified a challenge you have that maybe we've shared some things that we have found, or we would love to know your challenge, because if we haven't hit it yet, we probably will hit it in that thing. So I just want to say thank you. This is Kelly if you have questions, and we'll be happy to answer your questions that what we are doing and further in the way. And then one last, it's an advertisement. I promised I would do it. If you want to extend more of your learning, this summer we have a conference at the Marriott, and this is TETL, it's Texas Educational Technology Leaders, and we are, all of you are technology leaders. And many of your districts are part of this. We are an affiliate, we are an affiliate of COSIN, and we'll be celebrating 20 years. It's different from the TCA, which has great instructional strategies and such, but it's a little more on the policy side in looking at this. This is in the Woodlands, which is north of Houston.
Okay.
Yes, so you can go there. Okay.
All right. Well, this was awesome, right? Did we love it?